Hello everyone, you are welcome to AllCBTs channel. My name is Banke. I'm your tutor for today's class. Today we'll be taking a look at 30 JUPEB Biology past questions. So let's take a look at it together. Question 1. Protozoa that move by pseudopodia belong to the class A. Siliphora, B. Sarcodina, C. Mastigophora, D. Apicomplexa. Protozoa that move by 4 feet, because that's the meaning of pseudopodia, belong to the class A. Siliphora, B. Sarcodina, C. Mastigophora, D. Apicomplexa. The correct answer is Sarcodina. For example, amoeba, they move by pseudopodia 4 feet. It is not Siliphora because movement is by cilium, not Mastigophora, movement is by flagella, and Apicomplexa, for example, parasites, are not mortal. So option B is the correct answer to this question, Sarcodina. Question 2. The bonding between two complementary bases in a nucleotide is the bonding between two pairs of bases like adenine to thymine is bonded by which of the following bonds here? So we have A. Van der Waals force, B. Covalent bond, C. Hydrogen bond, D. Bipolar force. So the correct answer is hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bond is responsible for bonding two complementary bases in a nucleotide. So the correct answer is option C. Question 3. Dash is the basic unit of inheritance. When we talk about inheritance, that's passing specific traits from parents to offspring. And this has to do with the passing of genetic material. So option A, allele, option B, locus, option C, gene, option D, chromosome. The correct answer is gene. Gene is the basic unit of inheritance. Question 4. Which of the statements describe events during the interphase of mitosis? Mitosis is involved in cell division. So which of these events listed in this option which of these statements listed in this option describe events during the interphase of mitosis? Option A, chromosomes start to coil, becoming shorter and fatter. Option B, chromosomes line up on the equator of the spindle, that's metaphase. Option C, chromosomes are pulled apart by spindle fibers. Option D, chromosomes are replicated, ready for the next division. So when we talk about interphase, it prepares the cell for division. So option D is the correct answer. Chromosomes are replicated, ready for the next division. Option D is the correct answer. Question 5. Which process occurs during prophase of the mitotic cell cycle in an animal cell? So which process in these options occurs during prophase of the mitotic cell cycle in an animal cell? Option A, division of centromeres. Option B, formation of chromosomes. Option C, replication of DNA. Option D, separation of the centromes. So the process that occurred during prophase has to do with formation of chromosomes. So option B is the correct answer. So formation of chromosome occurs during the prophase of mitotic cell cycle in animal cells. Option B is the correct answer. Question 6. The intermediate host of Taenia saginata is A. Pig, option B. Dog, option C. Cattle, and option D. Horse. So the intermediate host of Taenia saginata is known as tapeworm, and the adult tapeworm is found in human intestine, while the larval stage is found in cattle. So the correct answer is cattle. The intermediate host of tapeworm is found in cattle. Option C. Question 7. The group of insects that have mouth parts adapted for both piercing and sucking is? So which of these group of insects have mouth parts that are adapted for piercing and also sucking blood? So option A, cockroaches, aphids, and mosquitoes. Option B, aphids, houseflies, and moths. Option C, mosquitoes, flies, and aphids. Option D, aphids, bees, and grasshopper. So the correct answer is mosquitoes, fly, and aphids. If you look at this organism, they have this tiny mosquito has this tiny mouth part that is used for piercing and sucking blood. So option C is the correct answer. The gas exchange of CO2 and O2 in plants occurs through small regulated openings called, so what is the gas exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen in plants occurs through a small regulated openings. Option A, mesophyll. Option B, stomata. Option C, chloroplast. Option D, thylakoids. So the correct answer is stomata. It's found in leaves. It has tiny pores that is found in leaves, which is responsible for gas exchange and also to regulate water loss. So option B is the correct answer. Question 9. Moss is an example of, what is moss? Moss is a non-vascular plant and it's has just one set of chromosomes. So moss is an example of A, vascular. I said it's a non-vascular plant, so that is not the correct answer. B, aplontic. C, diplontic. D, flowering plant. And moss is haploid. That means it has one set of chromosomes. So the correct answer is aplontic. So moss is an example of aplontic. Option B is the correct answer. Question 10. The base of ferns is protected against drought or frost by, when we say the base of ferns, looking at the illustration here, the pictorial illustration, is protected against drought. That means like an adaptive or like a survival mechanism against harsh conditions such as drought. And this base of fern is protected by a tiny hair-like structure, which is known as ramenta. So let's take a look at the option. Option A, ramenta. Option B, strobili. Option C, suri. And option D, rhizome. So the correct answer is ramenta. It has a hair-like structure, while strobili has like a cone-like structure, and rhizome is involved in propagation. So the correct answer is ramenta. Question 11. The main function of a companion cell in phloem tissue during translocation is? So the main function of companion cell. This companion cell works along with sieve tubes for during translocation in plants. What do you understand by translocation? That is the movement of food and water in plants. So let's take a look at the options provided. Option A, to provide cytoplasmic contact with sieve tube for loading. Option B, to provide structural support for the sieve tube. Option C, to provide a nucleus during cell division in the phloem. Option D, to provide assimilate for the storage of the transported sucrose. So remember what I said, companion cell works along with sieve tube that is responsible for loading or that's movement of food and water in plants. So the correct answer is to provide cytoplasmic contact with C2 for loading. That's the correct answer. It is not to provide structural support. That's not its function. So the correct answer is option A. Question 12. The fastest and simplest pathway of water in the root and leaf is the what? A. Cell wall. B. Cell membrane. C. Cytoplasm. D. Vacuole. Looking at this option A, cell wall, is the fastest and simplest pathway. Cell membrane can be slower and due to its by layer hydrophobic and hydrophilic layer, and cytoplasm and vacuole can also be slower compared to cell wall. But cell wall is the fastest and the easier way of water in the root and leaf. It's the fastest and the simplest pathway of water in the root and leaf. So the correct answer is cell wall, option A. Question 13. The use of natural enemy to control a particular pest can be regarded as, when you want to control, there are different kinds of forms of control strategies. We have the chemical, we have the biological. The chemical is involved the use of insecticide. So while biological is the use of an animal, let's say a predator, to feed a predator feeding on another animal. So the use of a natural enemy to control a particular pest can be regarded as biological control. That's the correct answer. Option C. Question 14. The female reproductive organ of a typical flower is known as A. Gynoecium, C. Androecium, B. Androecium, C. Calyx, D. Corolla. So the female reproductive organ of a typical flower is known as a gynoecium. It contains the ovary and the style, while androecium is the male reproductive organ. So the female reproductive organ of a typical flower is known as gynoecium. Just think of the guy. You know, when women go to visit gynecologist, so gynoecium is the correct answer. Option A. Question 15. The name Enterobacteriaceae denotes a bacterial dash. So A. Class, B. Division, C. Order, D. Family. So which of these classification does usually carry the name Aceae? That's this few words at the back. A-C-E-A-E. So is family. So just have it in your mind. When you see Aceae, it denotes a bacterial family. So the correct answer is option D, family. Question 16. The process of photosynthesis takes place in the leaves. A. Stomatum, B. Chloroplast, C. Mesophyll, D. Vascular bundle. So the process of photosynthesis takes place in the chloroplast. It is not stomata because stomata is involved in gas exchange, while mesophyll is part of the chloroplast. The vascular bundle has to do with the xylem and the phloem, that's transporting water and food in plants. So the correct answer is chloroplast, option B. Question 17. The byproduct of light-dependent reaction of photosynthesis is, so what do you mean by byproduct of light-dependent reaction? Byproduct is like a side product. It's not like the main product. like just a side product. So the byproduct of light-dependent reaction of photosynthesis is oxygen. After the splitting of water, oxygen is generated. So oxygen is a byproduct. It's not like the major product like ATP energy, but oxygen is a byproduct of light-dependent reaction of photosynthesis. Option C is the correct answer. Question 18. One of the important aspects of motives is that A. They initiate soil erosion. B. They reduce soil quality. C. They initiate soil formation. D. They serve as source of income. So mosses are known to initiate soil formation, like for other plants to grow later. So the correct answer, looking at this option, they initiate soil erosion. No, they reduce soil quality. They don't necessarily reduce soil quality, but improve the quality of soil, and they initiate soil formation. So that's the correct answer. They initiate soil formation. Option C is the correct answer. Question 19. A cell that has thin cell walls, dense cytoplasm, small size vacuoles, and is capable of dividing is likely to be. So all these characteristics are found in which of these cells listed in the option? Option A, meristematic cell. Option B, secondary cell. Option C, lateral cell. Option D, differentiated cell. So the correct answer is the meristematic cell. Meristematic cell is a cell that is known to have a thin cell wall. It has dense cytoplasm, and cell division is also capable of dividing. So that's the correct answer. Option A, meristematic cell is the correct answer. Question 20. The floral leaves of a typical flower are divided into four parts, where the sepal form the A. corolla, B. calyx, C. androecium, D. gynoecium. So looking at the pictorial illustration here, the correct answer is calyx. Calyx contains the sepal that protects the flower buds, while corolla contains the petal responsible for pollination. So the androecium is the male reproductive part, contains the male reproductive part, while the gynoecium contains the female reproductive part. So the correct answer is B, calyx. Question 21. The rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to, when we say diffusion, that's the movement of higher concentration to lower concentration. So, and it involves in diffusing in molecules and density, the size of diffusing molecules and density. So let's take a look at the option: size of diffusing molecules and concentration gradients. B, size of diffusing molecules and surface area of the cell involved. C, size of diffusing molecules and density of the diffusing molecules. D, size of diffusing molecules and temperature in the cell involved. So the correct answer is size of diffusing molecules and the density of the diffusing molecules. So that's the correct answer, option C. Question 22. Sexual maturity of animal parasites is attained in the sexual maturity of animal parasites is attained in the A. reservoir host, B. definite host, C. priming host, D. intermediate host. So the sexual maturity of animal parasites is attained in the definite host. So that is the correct answer. Question 23. Which of the listed phyla is referred to as a dead-end phylum? When we say dead-end phylum, they are organisms that are ancient. They don't evolve into a complex organism. So let's take a look at it. The coleotrata, these, for example, the jellyfish, the annelida, porifera, and arthropoda. So the correct answer is porifera. They, as since they don't evolve into complex organisms, so they are phyla that is referred to as dead end phylum. Question 24. The belief that certain living organisms or living things arose from vital forces present in non-living or decomposing matter is known as A. Initial generation, B. Biogenesis, C. Spontaneous generation, D. Induced generation. So the belief that certain living things arose from vital forces present in non-living things or decomposing matter is spontaneous generation. So why non-living things arise from non-living things, so it's known as spontaneous generation, while biogenesis is living arising from a living organism. So spontaneous generation, option C, is the correct answer. Question 25. Which of these cell structures can be seen only with an electron microscope? Which of these cell structures can be seen only with an electron microscope? So what is an electron microscope? It's as it can magnify, it's enhance more visibility than light microscope. So option A, cell surface membrane, option B, chromosome, option C, nucleolus, option D, vacuole. The correct answer is cell surface membrane because they are very thin, and the other options can be seen with the aid of light microscope, but this cell surface is very thin and it can be seen very well with the use of electron microscope. Question 26. Which of the following are found in both eukaryotes and prokaryotic cell? So which of these following? 1. Cellulose, B. Deoxyribose, then 3. Lipids, 4. Ribose. Okay, option A says 1, 2, 3. 1. Cellulose, B. 2. Deoxyribose, and 3. Lipids. It is not 1, 2, 3 because deoxyribose are found in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Lipids are found in both eukaryotic and prokaryotic, but cellulose is only found in the plant cell. So it is not found in animal cell. It is not found in eukaryotic. Option B, 1, 2, and 4. 1 is cellulose, 2 is deoxyribose, 4 is ribose. 2 and 4 are found both in eukaryotic and prokaryotic, but cellulose is not found in eukaryotic. That means option B is not the correct answer. Option C, 1, 3, and 4. Cellulose is not found in both. Then 3, lipids and ribose are found in both. Option D, 2, 3, 4. Deoxyribose is found in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic, that is found in DNA. Then lipid is found in both prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Then ribose in RNA is found in both prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So option D is the correct answer. Question 27. Choose the option that is associated with an open vascular system. This has to do with blood flow. So let's look at it. We have open vascular system and closed vascular system. Closed vascular system are when blood remain in the blood vessel. So let's look at it. Man, they have closed vascular system. Fish, closed vascular system. Then snake, D, closed vascular system. The only option with open vascular system here is prawn. So it's associated with open vascular system. Option C is the correct answer. Question 28. Choose the option that is associated with the measuring of the pulse beats. So which of these options is associated with measuring pulse beats? So we have A, artery, B, vein, C, capillary, D, nerves. We know artery is when blood moves from the heart to other parts of the body, and vein moves blood moves from the other part of the body back to heart. So pulse beats has to do with the measurement of breathing, the pumping of blood in the heart. So the correct answer is artery. Artery is the correct answer. Option A. Question 29. Study the option carefully and identify the organism that excretes uric acid as its main nitrogenous waste. So let's take a look at the option. Option A, frog. Option B, birds. Option C, fishes. Option D, man. So the correct answer is birds. Option B, they excrete uric acid. Those white droplets from birds are waste. And they contain uric acid. So they excrete uric acid as their main nitrogenous waste. Option B is the correct answer. Question 30. Identify the odd ecological instruments from the options given below. So looking at it, ecological instruments are used to um, measure environmental factors such as humidity, temperature, atmospheric pressure. So which of these instruments listed is odd? A, barometer, which is used for measuring atmospheric pressure. B, ecological meter, such as pH, is also used for is also an ecological instrument. C, meter rule. Meter rule does not have to do with measuring environmental factors, or is just odd amongst this option. Then anemometer is used for measuring wind speed. So the correct answer here is meter rule. It doesn't do with measuring environmental factors. So the correct answer, meter rule, option C. Now we have come to the end of these questions. If you have any other question, you can drop them in the comments section below and it will be attended to.
Hi, I'm sure you enjoyed the content you just watched. To see more episodes as that, preparing you for your oncoming exams, smash the subscribe button on this channel right now and visit the playlist that we've made for you, covering over 50 type of different exams, including JAMB, WAEC, Cacao, NEET, IALT, and the likes like that. Also, in every video you watch, we have the link to our apps where you can download on Google Play Store and Apple Play Store and practice hundreds of past questions for free.